Good morning. I'm Master Sergeant Queen Asa, Sexual Assault Response Coordinator for USASMA. My agenda is straightforward. I need you to buy into the SHARP program. Camp Casey, Korea, 2014. I'm a Field Artillery First Sergeant collaborating with the chaplain. Little did he know, but he would supply the foundation for my passion for advocacy. While keeping her identity concealed, he described the conversation that took place with a junior soldier in which she disclosed that her squad leader had grabbed her on her buttocks. Immediately, he went into reporting procedures, but she stopped him midstream, saying, "Oh no, there is no way I'm going to report anything. Besides, this is a lot better than what happened to me at my previous unit. At my previous unit, I was raped. I'll take being groped over being raped any day." Nothing in my verbal arsenal could convince this chaplain to give up her identity. See, he was bound by confidentiality. So I went to my battalion commander, wonderful battalion commander, Lieutenant Colonel Donald Potosny, and he gave me permission and the resources to launch a massive female mentorship program. You see, I had no identifiable information on this soldier, and this was my way of looking for her. Sexual assault is not new in the military. In 1991, 83 females and 7 males were sexually assaulted in a single weekend at the 35th Annual Tailhook Symposium. In 1996, 12 officers, to include non-commissioned officers, were accused of sexually assaulting the very female trainees that they were responsible for at Aberdeen Army Base. And in 2004, the military faced huge criticism in the wake of reports that hundreds of females had been sexually assaulted while serving in Iraq and in Afghanistan. See, despite claims of wanting to stamp out sexual assault in our ranks, the careers of many talented service members has been derailed because they either misunderstood or ignored the rules. So sexual assault is not a new problem. It's always been around. Even in this room, we have victims and we have survivors. Sexual harassment, sexual assault, it is not a female issue. It is a respect issue. It is an education issue. It is a leadership issue. And with the release of Not in My Squad, it is a charge for all soldiers and civilian warriors to set and enforce the standard. Now, who here plans on committing the act of sexual violence? If we don't plan on it, where are our soldiers going wrong? It's with consent. Consent is getting our soldiers in trouble. As leaders, we have to provide better wisdom, better advice to our soldiers than don't do dumb stuff. We have to be more meticulous than that. Tell our soldiers, when it comes to intimacy, you must obtain a clear, unambiguous, affirmative yes from a legally sane, sober adult. If I were to come over here to Sergeant Major Nelson and say, "Sergeant Major, would you like a cup of tea?" And Sergeant Major says yes, it would be okay for me to serve him a cup of tea. If I were to come over here to Sergeant Major Ortiz and say, "Sergeant Major, would you like a cup of tea?" And she says, "I'm not sure." It's okay for me to prepare the tea, but I'm preparing the tea with the understanding that she may not drink it. And here's the really important part. If she decides not to drink it, I cannot force it down her throat. If I were to come over here to Sergeant Major Teets and say, "Sergeant Major, would you like a cup of tea?" And he says no, guess what? I wouldn't even bother making the tea. The rules of engagement to obtaining consent parallel the same process that we go through when we want to know if someone would like a cup of tea. Now, over the course of the next few months, you're going to find that famous mantra of no means no is slowly fading away. What's been sold today is yes means yes, meaning again, you must get an affirmative yes. Somebody might perceive a particular behavior as courting. That same behavior could be perceived as stalking. And then there are other people who believe that same behavior leads to persistence, and persistence is the way to true love. Behind closed doors, alleged offenders are saying, well, he didn't try to stop me, and she didn't say no, and he didn't try to fight me off. And when they're finished with their excuses, one question will be asked. Did you ever get a yes? Bottom line, just because someone does not say no, doesn't mean they're saying yes. Because the link between sexual harassment and sexual assault is closely tied, they're both incorporated in the SHARP program. So if I start licking my lips at Sergeant Major Lambert, and Sergeant Lambert gets offended, but I say, Sergeant Major, I'm just moisturizing my lips. We've all heard of intent versus impact, right? Here's your takeaway with sexual harassment. The perceiver determines the intent or my purpose for my action. And if it's sexual in nature, unwelcome, and inappropriate, then that person is definitely setting herself up to make a very costly mistake. And understand that sexual harassment doesn't have to happen in the physical presence of anyone, meaning it extends to your social media, text messages, and emails. As a start, I've seen and heard some pretty disturbing things. A commander said, it's okay to hit a soldier on the butt and say good game. That's not sexual harassment. He's absolutely right. It's sexual assault. A leader stood in front of his formation and said, a person who has one drink cannot give consent. A person who has one drink cannot give consent. Is this statement true or false?
False.
This statement is false as a matter of law. The ability to give consent is not based on the number of drinks a person has. It's based on a person's ability to function. So one drink may not mean that Master Sergeant Azza is inebriated. 2 drinks may not mean that Sergeant Major Ortiz is inebriated. Since I am in the presence of senior enlisted members, I'm going to implore you to go back to your annual sharp face-to-face training and scrub through it. The reason being is that if your sharp training is packaged wrong, it sends the wrong message. It creates an environment of us versus them, males versus females, where all females are victims and all males are offenders. And that's not true. But yet soldiers are leaving training with the attitude that females are overly guarded and unnecessarily mean. And some males leave the training with the philosophy that I do not want to unite or merge professionally with female battle buddies. And that's ridiculous, because SHARP is not a female issue, and it's definitely not about division. Statistically speaking, more males are sexually assaulted than females. And there are a couple of challenges as to why this particularly sinister crime is greatly overlooked. Myths, stereotypes, and societal attitudes. The first is the myth that males cannot be sexually assaulted. Sexual assault can happen to anyone, regardless of age, sexual orientation, or gender. The second is stereotypes. Men should be able to fight off their attackers. Listen, males are not somehow genetically, biologically engineered where they're granted a natural immunity from sexual assault. And third and lastly, societal attitudes, like you can't rape the willing. I'm here to tell you that males who are sexually assaulted, they are not lucky. They are harmed and they are exploited. I am still looking for that unknown soldier in Korea, the one who decided to tolerate sexual assault. A couple of years ago, I was reading about something called the butterfly effect, where a small change in a complex system here can create significant change over there. The butterfly effect segues into my opening goal when I said I need you to buy into the SHARP program. The butterfly effect. Because if that soldier by some chance transfers into one of your units, she will be received in a unit that is safe, under the leadership that has zero tolerance for sexual assault, sexual harassment, or any type of inappropriate behavior. Again, I am Master Sergeant Queen Aza. I am the Sexual Assault Response Coordinator here at USASMA. I'm located in room 11 in the LRC. At this time, are there any questions of me? I'll leave you with the SHARP motto. Not in my squad, not in our army. We are trusted professionals. Enjoy your day.